we love this. This is what we do. We try to be innovative. We try to do things that no one has ever seen or heard before.
Everybody has heard of U2, a band with an incredible career trajectory, a charismatic frontman, and hundreds of thousands of dedicated fans. Their longevity have led many to regard them as one of the biggest bands in the world.
We were a band in a sense as a band of brothers before we were a successful musical thing. So those early friendships and that regard for one another stood us in very good stead, and I think it's given us something that a lot of bands don't have.
They have sold in excess of 170 million records and are still producing and writing new music. Setting records with their music sales and award wins, U2 have never struggled to maintain popularity with their fans and audiences alike. Initially rooted in post-punk, U2's musical style has evolved throughout their career, but has maintained an anthemic quality built on Bono's expressive vocals and the Edge's effects-based guitar sounds. U2 have released 14 studio albums and are one of the world's best-selling music artists. They have won 22 Grammy Awards, more than any other band, and were inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame as soon as they were eligible. Their rise from small-town Irish kids to selling out stadiums worldwide, there is no doubt U2 have solidified their own legacy before they've even retired from the music industry. Back in 1976, Larry Mullen Jr., then a 14-year-old pupil at Mount Temple Comprehensive School in Dublin, posted a note on the school bulletin board looking for musicians to join him in creating a new band. 6 people responded to his note and met at his house on the 25th of September. Set up in the kitchen, Larry was joined by Paul Bono Hewson, David "The Edge" Evans, and his older brother Dick Evans, Adam Clayton, Ivan McCormick, and Peter Martin. Larry Mullen later described it as the Larry Mullen Band for about 10 minutes. Then Bono walked in and blew any chances he had of being in charge. Within the first couple weeks of meeting, Ivan and Peter dropped out, leaving the remaining 5 to settle on the name Feedback and begin covering songs, which they have since admitted was not their strong point. Initially called Feedback and then The Hype, the band continued to perform around their local area and built a good reputation. The band changed their name to U2 in March 1978, after briefly being known as The Hype. That same month, they won a talent show in Limerick, Ireland, winning the prize of £500 and the chance to record a demo record for CBS Ireland. Within a few days after this win, Dick Evans was phased out of the group, and the remaining members became a 4-man band, the U2 we know today. The group consists of Bono, lead vocals and rhythm guitar, The Edge, lead guitar, keyboards, and backing vocals, Adam Clayton, bass guitar, and Larry Mullen Jr., drums and percussion. Irish magazine Hot Press were influential in shaping the future for U2. In addition to being one of their earliest allies, it also introduced them to Paul McGuinness, who agreed to become their manager in May 1978. McGuinness booked demo sessions for the band and sought to get them a record deal. The band continued to build their fan base across Ireland. In August 1978, U2 recorded a 3-track EP at Windmill Lane Studios, and the following month, their EP 3 was released, selling all 1,000 copies of its limited edition 12-inch vinyl almost immediately. The band finally got a record deal when A&R representative for Island Records was attending one of their performances in Dublin and offered to sign them to the label. The following month, the band signed a 4-year, 4-album deal with the label. Their first international single, 11 O'Clock Tick Tock, was released in May 1980. However, it failed to chart. From July to September of this year, the band recorded their first album, titled Boy, at Windmill Lane Studios. Boy was released in October 1980, receiving positive reviews from critics. The album peaked at number 52 in the UK charts. The album release was followed up with their first tour of continental Europe and the United States. Despite being unpolished, these early live performances demonstrated the band's potential, as critics complimented their ambition and Bono's enthusiasm on stage. The album included the band's first songs to receive airplay on US radio, including the single I Will Follow, which reached number 20 on the Top Tracks rock chart. The band faced several challenges in writing their second album, October. On an otherwise successful American leg of the Boy tour, Bono's briefcase containing in-progress lyrics and musical ideas was lost backstage during a March 1981 performance at a nightclub in Portland, Oregon. The band had limited time to write new music on tour, and in July began a 2-month recording session at Windmill Lane Studios, largely unprepared, forcing Bono to improvise lyrically. October's lead single, Fire, was released in July and was U2's first song to chart in the UK. Despite securing the band an appearance on UK television program Top of the Pops, the single fell in the charts afterwards. October was released in October 1981 and contained overtly spiritual themes. The album received mixed reviews and limited radio play, and although it debuted at number 11 in the UK, it sold poorly elsewhere. The single, Gloria, was U2's first song to have its music video played on MTV, generating excitement for the band during the October tour of 1981 to 1982 in areas where the television channel was available.
I try to stand up, but I can't find my feet. I try to speak up, but only in you I'm complete.
During the tour, U2 met Dutch photographer Anton Corbijn, who became their principal photographer and has had a major influence on their vision and public image. U2 were disappointed by their lack of progress by the end of the October tour. Having run out of money and feeling unsupported by their record label, the group committed to improving. Adam Clayton recalled that there was a firm resolve to come out of the box fighting with the next record. U2's third studio album, War, was released in February 1983. It was the band's first commercial success, debuting at number 1 in the UK while reaching number 12 in the US. War was lyrically more political than their first 2 records, focusing on the physical and emotional effects of warfare. War's lead single, New Year's Day, was released on the 1st of January 1983. It reached number 10 in the UK and became the group's first hit outside of Europe. In the US, it received extensive radio coverage and peaked at number 53.
On New Year's Day. On New Year's Day. I will be with you again. I will be with you again.
The Unforgettable Fire, their fourth album, was released in October 1984 and was at the time the band's most marked change in direction musically. The album reached number 1 in the UK. The lead single, Pride in the Name of Love, written about civil rights movement leader Martin Luther King Jr., was the band's biggest hit to that point and was their first song to chart in the US Top 40.
One man come and go. One man come here to justify. One man to overthrow. In the name of love. One man in the name of love. In the name of love.
In 1984, Bono took part in the recording of Do They Know It's Christmas, a song written by Bob Geldof and Midge Uri in reaction to television reports of the 1983 famine in Ethiopia. The song was first recorded in a single day, on the 25th of November 1984, by Band Aid, a supergroup put together by Geldof and Uri, and consisting mainly of the biggest British and Irish musical acts at the time. The single was released in the United Kingdom on the 3rd of December 1984, and aided by considerable publicity, it entered the UK singles chart at number 1 and stayed there for 5 weeks, becoming the Christmas number 1 of 1984. Do They Know It's Christmas has been re-recorded 3 times, in 1989, 2004, and 2014. Bono appeared again in 2 of the re-recordings, in 2004 and 2014.
Christmas bells that ring are like chimes. Well, tonight, thank God it's them instead of you. Bring peace and joy.
Bono, your famous line, well, tonight, it has changed to, well, tonight we're reaching out and touching you. Is it still going to be your line come tomorrow?
I think so. I think that's the plan. Just feel really embarrassed to be late. And not having a lot of luck with airplanes at the moment was fog. So a plane director would never be late, never keep Bob late, never.
Can you believe that you're recording this again 30 years on from the original and it's still being used to raise money for the people in Africa?
We've been trying to make this kind of event a thing of the past, you know. We want to make Band Aid history. And, for quite some time. And if every country had the values of Great Britain and kept the promises they make at these big G8 meetings and the like, we wouldn't have to be standing here. You know, these are not. It's not a failure of Great Britain, but outside of this country, we have a lot of work to do in getting people to keep their promises.
How do you feel emotionally about taking part in this today? Of course, 30 years after you did the original Band Aid single.
As I say, I wish we, in a way, we didn't have to do this. And there will come a time when we won't. And that would be great. Wouldn't it be great not to see the same old faces? This is what I'm excited about today is sort of Star Trek The Next Generation. I like that, you know, I'd be happy just to stand in the background and wave, actually.
And how do you feel about performing alongside all these other stars, many of whom weren't even born when the original single was done?
What a depressing thought. No, they're great. There's some brilliant Ed Sheeran, amazing, Ellie Goulding. Those are great people.
All the re-recordings were also charity records. The 1989 and 2004 versions also provided money for famine relief, while the 2014 version was used to raise funds for the Ebola crisis in West Africa. All 3 of these versions also reached number 1 in the UK, with the 1989 and 2004 versions also becoming the Christmas number 1s for their respective years. On the 13th of July 1985, the group performed at the Live Aid concert at Wembley Stadium for Ethiopian famine relief before a crowd of 72,000 fans and a worldwide television audience of 1.5 billion people. The performance was regarded as a pivotal event in the band's career. British newspaper The Guardian cited Live Aid as the moment that U2 stars and included their performance on a list of 50 key events in rock history. For their fifth album, The Joshua Tree, the band wanted to build on the unforgettable Fire's textures, but instead of out-of-focus experimentation, they sought a harder-hitting sound within the limitation of conventional song structures. The Joshua Tree was released in March 1987. The album juxtaposes antipathy towards U.S. foreign policy against the group's deep fascination with the country, its open spaces, freedom, and ideals. The album went to #1 in over 20 countries, including the UK, where it received a platinum certification in 48 hours and sold 235,000 copies in its first week, making it the fastest seller in British chart history at the time. In the US, it spent 9 consecutive weeks at #1. The album included the hit singles With or Without You, I Still Haven't Found What I'm Looking For, and Where the Streets Have No Name, the first two of which became the group's only #1 hits in the US. The album and its songs received 4 Grammy Award nominations, winning for Album of the Year and Best Rock Performance by a Duo or Group with Vocal. In October 1988, the group released Rattle and Hum, a double album and theatrically released documentary film that captured the band's experiences with American roots music on the Joshua Tree Tour. The record featured 9 studio tracks and 6 live U2 performances. During the last performance of the tour promoting the album, before a hometown crowd in Dublin, Bono said on stage that it was the end of something for U2, and that they had to go away and just dream it all up again. They began work on their 7th studio album, Achtung Baby, at Berlin's Hansa Studios in October 1990. The sessions were fraught with conflict, as the band argued over their musical direction and the quality of their material. Weeks of tension and slow progress nearly prompted the group to break up, until they made a breakthrough with the improvised writing of the song One.
You got someone to blame. You said one love, one life. When it's one need in the night, one love, we get to share it. Leaves you, baby, if you don't care for it.
They returned to Dublin in 1991, where morale improved and the majority of the album was completed. Achtung Baby was released in November 1991. The album represented a change in musical and thematic direction for the group. The shift was one of their most dramatic since The Unforgettable Fire. Commercially and critically, it has been one of the band's most successful albums. It produced 5 hit singles, including The Fly, Mysterious Ways, and One, and it was a crucial part of the band's early 1990s reinvention. In 1993, Achtung Baby won the Grammy Award for Best Rock Performance by a Duo or Group with Vocal. Like the Joshua Tree, many publications have cited the record as one of rock's greatest. In June 1993, U2 signed a long-term 6-album deal to remain with Island Records. The following month, the group released a new album, Zooropa. Initially intended to be an EP, Zooropa ultimately evolved into a full-length album. It was an even greater musical departure for the group, delving further into electronic, industrial, and dance music. Although the commercially successful Zooropa won the Grammy Award for Best Alternative Music Album in 1994, the band regarded it with mixed feelings, as they felt it was more of an interlude. Over the next couple years, U2 released another 2 albums, Pop in 1997 and All That You Can Leave Behind in 2000. All That You Can Leave Behind debuted at #1 in 32 countries and sold 12 million copies. Its lead single, Beautiful Day, was a worldwide hit.
You can lend a hand in return for grace. It's a beautiful day. Sky falls, you feel like it's a beautiful day. So let it get away on the road. But you got no destination, you're in the mud.
The song won Grammy Awards for Best Rock Performance by a Duo or Group, Song of the Year, and Record of the Year. On the 3rd of February 2002, U2 performed during the Super Bowl 36 halftime show. In a tribute to those who died in the September 11th attacks, the victims' names were projected onto a backdrop, and at the end, Bono opened his jacket to reveal an American flag in the lining. Later that month, U2 received 4 additional Grammy Awards. All That You Can't Leave Behind won Best Rock Album, while Walk On was named Record of the Year, marking the first time an artist had won the latter award in consecutive years for songs from the same album. Looking for a harder-hitting rock sound than that of All That You Can't Leave Behind, U2 began recording their 11th studio album, How to Dismantle an Atomic Bomb, in February 2003. Released in November 2004, How to Dismantle an Atomic Bomb received favorable reviews from critics. The album featured lyrics touching on life, death, love, war, faith, and family. It reached #1 in 30 countries, including the US, where first-week sales of 840,000 copies nearly doubled those of All That You Can't Leave Behind, setting a personal best for the band. Overall, it sold 9 million copies globally. In 2006, U2 released a concert film, U2 3D, which was the world's first live-action digital 3D film.
3D technology is relatively new, and I haven't seen any of the other 3D films that are out at the moment yet, but certainly watching it gives you a real perspective of being in the audience and seeing a real U2 show. You know, what's nice about it is instead of it being cut like a video or a concert film where a lot of fast cuts, it's a lot slower, so you get the overall feel of the band.
Well, it's a concert film, and I'm in it with my friends Bono, Adam, and Larry, and it's a 3D film, and hopefully it's going to rock the house. We'll find out.
How did you come up with the idea?
Well, it wasn't our idea. I mean, Catherine, our director, and came to us with a project, and she said it's going to hopefully be a great record of you know, U2 playing at their best. So we signed on, and I think she was right. It's, if nothing else, it is a great record of what we did during that time in South America.
They also released an autobiography in 2006 titled U2 by U2.
Well, there is one enormous ego, and it's not
you?
mine. It's a shared one. It's just in 4 pieces, and no one cares who wins an argument in our band, as long as, you know, the song is better, the show is better. That's really it. It's kind of not that complicated. Our sort of uber ego that we have as a band is bigger than our individual ones. And I think a lot of bands that started out with us, that was not the case. There were probably more talented people around who never just figured that one out.
You talk in the book actually about needing the adulation of the fans and getting a massive buzz off that. There are a lot of fans here today. What is your relationship with your fans?
Well, we have the best fans in the world. They've got the best taste in music. They really recognise intelligent, smart,
Tall,
how handsome we are. But to be serious for a second, I think our fans are really smart and they really pay attention. And over the years, what's been incredible for us is to see how we might stumble into something, get involved with something, but it's our fans who actually really make a difference. You know.
Also in 2006, Bono founded the company Product Red, along with Bobby Shriver of the One campaign. The company seeks to engage the private sector in raising awareness and funds to help eliminate HIV/AIDS in 8 African countries.
So many people, 6,500 every day, dying of this preventable, treatable disease. In Africa, it's astonishing, and we're losing the war against AIDS, and this is going to help turn it around.
It has several licensed partnerships with mainstream companies, such as Apple, Starbucks, and Converse. As part of a new business model, each partner company creates a product with the Product Red logo. All of the funds generated by Red partners and events go to global fund programs that provide medical care and support services for people affected by HIV/AIDS in Africa. No overhead is taken by either Red or the Global Fund. Red is the largest private sector donor to the Global Fund and has generated over $600 million for HIV programs in Africa as of July 2019.
One of the things about Red is it's not just about the money raised, 330 odd million. It's about the heat and the excitement, you guys covering us. That makes it a priority for a politician, if it's popular.
U2's album No Line on the Horizon was released in February 2009, more than 4 years after How to Dismantle an Atomic Bomb, marking the longest gap between albums of the band's career to that point. It received generally positive reviews, including their first 5-star Rolling Stone review. The album debuted at #1 in over 30 countries, but its sales of 5 million were seen as a disappointment by U2 standards, and it did not contain a hit single. The group embarked on the U2 360 tour in June 2009. The 360 tour concerts featured the band playing stadiums in the round on a circular stage, allowing the audience to surround them on all sides.
The U2 tour travels with 132 technicians which go to every show, and there's 30 staging people which erect the structure that we hang our PA sound and lights on. We have 112 truck drivers and 12 bus drivers. So, and then we have a band, of course. There's a few of us.
Not only are there no shows now, there never have been any show as expensive as this, but there's never been a show that has done these numbers. We'll do over 7 million people over the course of this tour. The tour will gross over $700 million over the course of the tour, and every record will be broken by a significant margin over anything previous. And I dare say the records that you're going to see from this tour won't be touched.
By its conclusion in July 2011, U2 360 had set records for the highest grossing concert tour and most tickets sold for a tour. In 2010, Bono and The Edge announced they had been working on lyrics and music for a new musical, Spider-Man: Turn Off the Dark. The musical was based on the 2002 Spider-Man film and incorporated elements of the story. The production included highly technical stunts, such as aerial combat scenes, and actor swinging from webs, being described early on as the most technically complex show ever on Broadway, with 27 aerial sequences of characters flying and engaging in aerial combat.
Still, the one show people want to go and see when they go to the city, when they come to New York, because it's a New York story. Spider-Man, it's his hometown. I mean, he's from Queens, but it's New York. And Mary Jane's from Queens. That's where Joey Ramone comes from.
It also included a multitude of moving set pieces that put the audience in the middle of the action, and enough projections onto giant screens that Bono said it is like a three-dimensional graphic novel. The musical celebrated 1,000 shows in May 2013.
They said it couldn't be done. They said that Spider-Man would never fly on Broadway, but here we are 1,000 shows in, so we're feeling pretty good tonight, and so happy for the cast, who are amazing and who, come on stage every night and just knock it out of the park. So we're very humbled to be collaborators with them. They're amazing.
However, the Broadway production was notorious for its many troubles. Several actors were injured while performing stunts, and the opening night was repeatedly delayed. Following initial negative reviews, the musical suspended performances for another month to rework the show. By the time Spider-Man Turn Off the Dark officially opened in June 2011, it had set the record for the longest preview period in Broadway history, with 182 performances. Critical reception of the opening was better than for the previews, but still mixed. Spider-Man Turn Off the Dark is the most expensive Broadway production in history, with a budget of $75 million, and also once held the box office record for Broadway sales in 1 week, taking in $2.9 million over 9 performances. The production closed on January 4th, 2014, at a massive financial loss. On the 9th of September 2014, U2 appeared at an Apple product launch event to make a surprise announcement of their 13th studio album, Songs of Innocence. They released it digitally the same day to all iTunes Store customers at no cost, making it available to over 500 million people in what Apple CEO Tim Cook called the largest album release of all time. Songs of Innocence recalls the group members' youth in Ireland, touching on childhood experiences, loves, and losses, while paying tribute to their musical inspirations. Bono described it as the most personal album we've written.
The songs really always give you the clue as to how to perform them and where to perform them. And we wanted to have to be back indoors again. And we're using this contraption behind you, which looks like a yellow Berlin Wall. This divider, we're using this translucent canvas to tell sort of stories behind those songs, where we came from. It's a lot of it set in Dublin in the 70s, and we recreate 10 Cedarwood Road, where I grew up, and Cedarwood Road, my mates, and this is the inspiration behind Songs of Innocence.
The record received mixed reviews and drew criticism for its digital release strategy. It was automatically added to users' iTunes accounts, which did not appeal to a large amount of users.
Of great human rights abuses of our time.
Yeah.
I'm not sure the Apple gift. This is a company that more than anybody's trying to get artists paid, I think they got a backlash, a sort of big tech backlash, because people fear, oh my God, these companies know too much about us. Apple doesn't. They actually just know your music. Like, that's all they're interested in is your music. I thought it was quite a poetic thing to do, to reward people who paid for music with a free gift of our music. They paid us modestly, and we were grateful for that. We've got to experiment.
You've got to try new things.
Yeah.
And, I mean, the new thing is the new thing for all of 15 minutes these days. And right now, a lot of artists are trying to figure out how to fix the issue of CD sales going down so fast and free music on the internet that no one's paying for being so huge. So this is just one attempt at figuring that out, and I'm sure there'll be others coming along, and At some point we will fix it, but right now it's really bad for up-and-coming artists particularly, because no one can afford these days to make records or go on the road. So it's actually kind of serious.
If you go on the road, you can sort of survive.
Well,
but if you're a songwriter, you're really
a successful
in trouble.
band. Yeah, but if you're a young band, you can't afford to go on the road.
Yeah.
In 2016, U2 worked on their next studio album, Songs of Experience, which was intended to be a companion piece to Songs of Innocence. Songs of Experience was released on the 1st of December 2017. The first single, You're the Best Thing About Me, is one of many songs from the album that are letters written by Bono to people and places closest to his heart. The album went to #1 in the US and has since been certified platinum.
It's always the unknown until you actually have an audience there and you do a show or two. You don't really know how it's going to go, so there's still a few nerves.
Yeah, you find out whether these songs are any good or not, and that's it. That's our audience is very demanding, but live is where U2 lives. As we've always been a live band, ever since we started out. This was our records are great, and it's amazing when we're played on the radio, but to experience U2, you got to come see us live. So.
Bono is known to be a real family man. When he's not rocking the stage alongside his bandmates, the iconic Irish singer-songwriter is spending time with his longtime wife and their beloved kids. Bono met his future wife, Alison Stewart from Raheny, when they were both attending Mount Temple Comprehensive School in Dublin, Ireland. The pair first struck up a romance when Bono walked her to the bus one day, and he became Ali's first real boyfriend when she was just 15 and he was 16. The couple said "I do" in the Old Guinness Church of Ireland in Raheny on August 21st, 1982, when Bono was 22 and Ali was 21. After U2 began to find global success, Ali decided to shelve her aspirations of becoming a nurse to support her new husband and his rock and roll dreams. The couple have 4 children, daughters Jordan, born in 1989, and Eve, born in 1991, and sons Elijah, born in 1999, and John, born in 2001. Ali has since dedicated herself to humanitarian work after being inspired by her husband's performance at Live Aid in 1985. The Edge is also a very family-oriented person. He married his high school girlfriend, Aislinn O'Sullivan, on July 12, 1983. They have 3 daughters named Holly, born in 1984, Erin, born in 1985, and Blue Angel, born in 1989. The couple separated in 1990, but were unable to get legally divorced because of Irish laws regarding annulment at the time. Divorce was legalized in 1995, and the couple legally divorced in 1996. In 1993, he began dating Morley Steinberg, an American professional dancer who was employed by U2 as a choreographer and dancer during the Zoo TV tour. They have a daughter, Sean, born in 1997, and a son, Levi, born in 1999. The couple were married in 2002. U2 are regarded as one of the greatest pop rock acts of all time and have sold an estimated 150 to 170 million records worldwide, placing them among the best-selling music artists in history.
You know, we were a band in a sense as a band of brothers before we were a successful musical commercial thing. So those early friendships and that regard for one another stood us in very good stead, and I think it's given us something that a lot of bands don't have. You know, when you go through a difficult time, that's when you got to make these decisions sometimes. What's the important thing? And for us, I don't think it's ever changed. It's always this concept that we all have to win, that it's not good enough for one or two individuals to kind of succeed, that the collective has to win, otherwise we fail.
U2 have 8 albums that have reached #1 in the US, the third most of any group. They were the first group to attain #1 albums in the US in the 1980s, 1990s, 2000s, and 2010s. The amount of hits they've released have allowed them to produce 3 compilation albums to date, featuring their best love singles and classic songs.
We love this. This is what we do. We try to be innovative. We try to do things that no one has ever seen or heard before. That's what we did with Zoo TV. That's what we're doing on Pop Mart. That's what we did with 360. That's what we're doing now. And at the heart of it, though, is an idea that started way back in the late 70s, around the time when we were a little sort of post-punk combo, which is this idea of sort of breaking through the fourth wall, you know, and seeing that there's no divide between your audience and yourself, trying to smash that divide.
U2 are regarded as one of the greatest pop rock acts of all time. They are often commended for writing songs about things that are important and resonate with their audience, keeping them a fan favorite through the decades of their career. Despite never wanting to be a nostalgia act, U2 are now embracing their legacy and the mark they have imprinted on the music industry, accepting their status as a legacy band. But one thing is for sure, U2 aren't going to remain in the past. They're still going to release new music, and they're still going to try and score hits, even if they know the odds are against them.
We're back. We're back, and we're hard to get rid of.